Hi, welcome back. In the previous lesson, we learned how to make the most of every inch of your small space garden. Now we're going to take a look at the best veggies for planting in sunny spots and how to take care of them. We'll discuss what to plant when it comes to warm season crops. I'll share some ideas for planting theme gardens, and we'll have some special considerations for how you maintain a sunny space garden. Warm season vegetables are those that grow best during the warm days of summer. These include herbs like rosemary and some of the all-time favorite fruiting plants like tomatoes and peppers, beans, cucumbers, eggplant, and squash. There's a list of the top 10 warm season vegetables in your class materials. Folks in the garden industry, like plant breeders, have noticed there are more gardeners growing vegetables in small spaces, and they've started introducing new vegetable cultivars to meet our needs. Now there are more compact varieties that grow full-size fruit on smaller plants. Here is Tiny Tim. This is a tomato that will only grow a few feet tall, but still produces a lot of tasty tomatoes over the season. So when you're shopping for warm season plants for your small space garden, read the plant descriptions and look for bush type plants instead of vining plants. For example, something like better bush tomatoes or bush beans instead of pole beans. Look for cues in the plant names such as patio, miniature, dwarf, baby, or tiny. And don't forget, you can plant edible flowers too. Nasturtium, lavender, pansies, Johnny jump-ups, and violets are some of my favorites. Or maybe you'd like to plant edibles that are ornamental, like kale, chard, and parsley. Theme gardens are fun to plant too. They're filled with the vegetables and herbs that match your tastes, like a snack garden filled with cherry tomatoes, lemon cucumbers, edamame, and sweet peas. For a spaghetti garden, you might want to plant tomatoes, garlic, oregano, and even some spaghetti squash. If you enjoy cooking Mexican food, plant a Mexican-themed garden, which could include tomatoes, cilantro, onions, peppers, and tomatillos. But make sure you plant 2 of those. That way you can make your own salsa. You could also plant an herbal tea garden with different herbs or all one kind like lemon basil, lemon thyme, and lemon verbena. This year I planted a pizza garden in one of my large containers. It includes a Roma tomato plant, some squash, a bunch of chives, basil, and oregano. I can't wait to make my first pizza with all of those fresh vegetables. In the class materials, I've provided recipes for each type of themed garden, or you can make up your own. Now let's discuss some special care techniques for your small space sunny garden. Hot weather, especially if it's humid, hot, and windy, can cause tomato blossoms to drop. It might cause no fruit to set, maybe smaller fruit, or the fruit tastes bitter. Some plants may flower prematurely, which is called bolting. Or you may see diseases like blossom end rot on your tomatoes or peppers. So it's important to keep your soil moist, but not soggy. Be sure that you water your plants at the root zone and not overhead to get water on your leaves. And mulch is important to reduce evaporation and maintain a nice moist soil. Be sure to have thick layers of mulch that are at least 4 to 6 inches deep and not touching the plant stems. Another hint is to fertilize carefully in small amounts and just make sure to keep your garden well watered. I can't stress that enough. Watch for signs of wilting during the heat. Now some wilting is normal during the heat of the day, but plants should bounce back when they get some shade or in the evening. If not, the plants may either need more water or you may be dealing with some sort of plant disease. For example, wilting and drying cucumber leaves may signal a bacterial wilt that kills the vine, and those are caused by cucumber beetles that spread the disease. So if you see wilting cucumber vines, they may need to be pulled up and disposed of. Some plants like tomatoes and peppers and eggplant welcome that kind of heat. Remember to review your class materials for a list of best plants for sunny spots and the recipes for themed gardens. Now let me show you a creative way to plant 7 different sun-loving herbs in one container. This is a strawberry pot. It's also called a pocket planter, but you don't have to just plant strawberries in a pot like this. Let me demonstrate how you can plant in this type of container. So for this project, what you'll need is, of course, a strawberry pot, soil. You'll need some slow-release fertilizer. I have about a 12-inch piece of PVC pipe, and what we'll be using this pipe for is drilling it with holes so that once it goes into the pocket planter, you'll be able to water from the top of this pipe, and it'll water all of the plants at the same time. You'll need a piece of sponge to put at the bottom of that PVC pipe. We have our handy dandy coffee filters. We'll put those in the bottom to keep the soil from running out of the bottom of the pot. The herbs that you want to plant, any varieties that you like, a piece of newsprint, and I think that we're ready to start. So the first step, put in that piece of the coffee filter, and then we'll add some organic slow-release fertilizer to our potting mix so that we'll give our plants a good head start. And we'll put in a scoop or 2 of soil to start with. Okay, actually a scoop or 3. And then with our, take a piece of sponge. We just want to block the bottom of the PVC pipe. Just kind of squeeze that in there. And that's just to keep the water from running out too quickly. Want to slow the watering as much as we can. So we're going to stick this kind of a little off center in the middle of the pot, a little off center. And those holes are drilled up and down the sides of the PVC pipe. And then crumple up your newspaper and stick it in the top of the pipe. But you don't want to stuff it in. All you want to do is make sure that as you're filling your pot, that you're not filling up that piece of PVC. So we'll remove this at the end, but it's just a safety measure. Okay, and then we're just going to add a layer of soil. That's going to stay good. To that first set of planting holes. Now, as you're thinking about your strawberry pot, the herbs that you want to add, you want to think about the kinds of herbs and how they grow in the pot. For example, I have some rosemary that I know is going to grow up straight and tall, and I'm going to plant that at the top of the pot. And then there are other herbs like thyme that you can plant so that it falls over or drapes over the sides as it grows. So your herb garden will be functional, it'll be ornamental, and you'll enjoy planting it and using all of the herbs. So we've gotten to the first planting hole, and you can plant transplants, or you could also use seeds to plant, whichever one you'd like to do. And we'll start with parsley. Let's take our parsley and loosen the roots a little bit. And then you're just going to feed this through the planting hole. Like so. And don't worry if you lose a few roots in the process, because parsley's going to make more as it's growing. Okay, so there is an example of how to stick that in there. And it already looks great. And then we're going to add more soil. What I would do next is plant all of the bottom pockets. But for this demonstration, I'm going to go up to this next pocket. Just to give you an idea of what that's going to look like once it's planted. Okay. Smooth out that soil in the top. Kind of firm it up around the parsley. And then we're going to take our basil and rough up the roots just a little bit and add that to the planter. Again, kind of firm it in there. Oh, that basil smells so good. Okay. And add a little more. Oop. A little more soil. And I'm going to firm that in. And let's pretend that I've planted all of the planting pockets. I'm just going to remove the newspaper from our PVC pipe, which is our watering pipe. And we'll have this top will be planted, all of the pockets will be planted. And then to water, you'll just water through the top of that PVC pipe. And as the water flows down the pipe, it'll go out through those holes and it'll water all of those herbs all at the same time. I know it looks like this might be a little full to begin with, but that's okay because you're going to be pinching it back and harvesting and using the herbs in your cooking through the season. So here's a picture that shows what the pot looks like once the herbs have all grown. So this idea of planting is just one more way to make the most use of your small space garden. Not much sun in your garden? Don't worry. Next up, we're going to be talking about planting in shady places.